Hey, what's up, folks? Thank you all for tuning back into the channel. Today I'm going to do a video on two soft plastics that I like to use a lot in the spring. I say when the water gets, say it reaches 53-degree temperature, and it's getting close to the time you know that the bass are getting ready to spawn where you live. These two baits are good bed fishing baits if you like to bed fish, but they're also good baits for just casting around shallow cover where you know bass like to spawn, whether it's flats with stumps on them, lay downs on a channel bank, brush, dock post, uh, boat docks, anything like that, rock, shallow rock, anywhere you know bass like to spawn and you're getting close to the spawn. Once that water temperature gets above 53, both these baits I start throwing. One of them is a staple that people have been fishing for years, early spring bait, and it's also a popular Carolina rig bait. The second one is something I've been fishing a long time, but I'm not sure many people out there, I'm sure it's not as commonly used as a lizard is, which is the first one I'm going to talk about. So let's jump right into it. It's February now. It'll be, we've had some really warm weather here where I live, and this is coming right behind 2.5 weeks of really cold weather and snow before, not even, a month ago. But we've had 2 weeks of really warm weather. So I imagine the water temperatures have really jumped up. I haven't been able to fish because I've got so many things going on at home, and just been really busy. And my first tournament's not until middle of March, so I'm just trying to get my stuff together, boat straight, take some baits out of the boat, trying to condense things even more this year than what I did last year. So let's get into this video. And I think I'm going to mention a few things I really think will help you catch some fish and help you catch more fish in one of the funnest times of the year to fish. So first, let's talk about the lizard. Good old 6 to 7 inch plastic lizard. Who knows how many fish have been caught on this bait. Used to, when I bed fished, when I first got into bass fishing, this was the only thing I ever bed fished with, was this and a tube. And still bed fish with a tube some now. But that lizard, man, and the thing is, what's crazy is you can still catch them on the lizard off a bed. That bite hasn't gone away. It's just so much new stuff has come along. Anytime something new comes along, people want to try it. And again, the older baits get pushed to the side. So let's talk about color for a minute. Say I'm at Kerr, Gaston. I'm going to go with a watermelon or watermelon red flake. Sometimes I'll even dye the tail chartreuse. Or I'll go with green pumpkin and dye the tail. That's the two main colors I'll use when fishing clear to very lightly stained water. Once we get into the rivers, I like black with red flake, and I like a black with a blue tail and black with a chartreuse tail. And June bug. I'll throw June bug in the river sometimes too. But most of the time it's gonna be black and red flake, or the black, blue, or chartreuse tail. It's just darker water, muddier water, and it's just colors I think that it's easier for them to see. And that's not to say I've never thrown black in the lakes, because I have. Black is just a color in plastic I like to throw anyway. So, but those are the main colors that I'm going to be concentrating on. I'm looking to fish this several different ways, the lizard. One of the ways I've talked about in the past, and actually I didn't mention the lizard, but I did a video on, it was called Forgotten Finesse. It was on the Mojo rig. I did it last spring. Mojo rig is your soft plastic on a hook that's big enough to do the job, but not too big to let the bait have as natural an action as you can. I usually fish a Mojo rig on 12-pound line, whatever line you like to use. Whether you like fluorocarbon, whether you like the CCX that I use, or big game, whatever. I don't use the big game anymore on any of my bottom baits or anything involving soft plastics or jigs. I have gone to that P-Line CXX, and that's what I like to use on my bottom baits and stuff. So I use 12-pound. There's my hook and my lizard. And you put this Phoenix cylinder weight, it's got a hole, just slide around your line. Make your leader as long as you want it, and you put a bobber stop right here. And you can even put a bobber stop in the front too if you want. One on each end to hold it in place. About I'd say 6 to 10 inch leader is what I usually use. If you're fishing bank grass, anytime you're fishing light grass, it's not a lot of heavy matted stuff. This is not what you want to throw in. But if you have bank grass, if you have light hydrilla, you have like some kind of light, not too thick but sparse vegetation, this Mojo rig with a lizard on it is awesome in the spring. The fall of it, the light weight in the front of it, and just pulling and pads, or on lily pads as well. This is a good way to rig a soft plastic lizard and fish it. This weight is, it's a mini Carolina rig kinda, and it just kinda and slowly pulls the bait down. But when you twitch it and you pull that weight back up and the lizard comes up with it, this weight comes through sparse grass and pads really good. Does not get hung up on pad stems, does not get hung up in grass. And the Mojo rig is one of the ways I'll fish a lizard. Another way I like to fish it is on the Texas rig. Everyone does that, rig it up with your 2 or 3/0 hook, whichever size you prefer, wide gap or standard offset hook with a slip sink or whatever size. I usually throw on the Texas rig with a lizard, I'll usually throw a 3/16 to maybe a 1/4 ounce, no bigger than that. 3/16 is always my #1 choice on the Texas rig with a lizard. I've talked about, I love to throw a slider head. You guys know that. And I will rig a lizard up on a slider head. This hook has got enough thickness to the hook, and it's a good hook in these pro slider heads. Put it on a spinning rod, throw that lizard around, get a lot of bites. Don't be afraid to throw a lizard on the bed still. I know people say, oh, they grab the tail, or they grab the legs, the appendages, and pull it off. That may be true. Put you some bait fuel on it. Now, I guarantee you that bait fuel, that stuff is really, really good. It's potent. I don't know what's in it. Don't know how it works. A lot of people don't believe in scent, and fish holding on the bait longer because, everybody believes what they believe. I know what works for me. Bait fuel works. Don't be afraid to put it on these lizards and toss them around, and you'll get bit. You can catch fish off beds with it. You can catch fish with it just randomly fishing it. But a lizard is a good bait. This is a watermelon also rigged up on a slider head. It's just the fall of a slider head, and this lizard with its flat sides and the appendages looks sweet coming through the water. And it's just a fish catcher, especially when they're about to spawn or when they're spawning. You guys like to pond fish? Don't forget about that Mojo rig in your ponds too, if you got light grass and stuff. And here's another little thing I do, and this is hard to cast, but I have caught fish off of a bed with this. And I have caught fish just fishing with it. But in a pond, when I first started bass fishing, started fishing ponds, I used to throw a little black 4-inch lizard on a 32nd ounce slider, pro slider head. And that is a pond killer right there. Doesn't matter the color. If you got darker, muddy water, and a lot of times you got muddy water in ponds, you gotta throw the darker colors, June bug, black, colors like that. But this little lizard on a little 32nd ounce slider head on a spinning rod, that's a pond killer. And this is something that'll get you a lot of bites too. Get you a lot of bites. So if you're a pine guy, don't forget that. Now, the second bait. That's enough about the lizard. This next bait I'm going to talk about is something I started throwing about, it's probably been 10, 15 years ago. Believe it or not, they've been making them that long. It's a Strike King bait, and it's from that Rage Tail line. And this is called the Strike King Space Monkey. I remember when I first saw this thing and I first started fishing with it, there was a club I used to fish with. We used to have to stand after the tournament. Top 3 finishers would tell everybody what they caught their baits on, caught their bass on. And you know, I used to do pretty good in the club tournament, the clubs I was fishing with for a while. Whenever I told somebody I caught fish on a Space Monkey, I you know, get laughed at and what in the heck is that? Never heard of it. And I went from the lizard, they wouldn't hit the lizard, then I go to the Space Monkey. Now you can see the appendages on this thing. You know how those Rage Tail baits are. Thick appendages. This thing moves a lot of water. This thing kicks up a good commotion. And I rigged this up. This is the June bug. Color selection is the same. I'll throw a green pumpkin or watermelon seed in the lakes. Clear water to lightly stain. I will throw, they have a color called Double Header. It's green pumpkin on one side and watermelon red flake on the other. Love that color in the clear water that I fish at times. This is June bug. This is black and blue. And again, these things, the appendages come fastened when you take them out of the package. All this Rage Tail stuff too also has coffee scent on it. And I thought that was weird as heck, but there's something to it. It works. There's other Rage Tail baits, the Rage Crawl I use, but this Space Monkey, man, the thing that got me hooked on it was when I first started fishing with it, I would catch bigger than average fish with it. And I started fishing it right along with the lizard. I'd have it rigged up on one rod, lizard on the other, and the monkey would outfish it. This would catch bigger fish, the lizard would get me more bites. But this thing, and this was probably one of my favorite colors. This is Okeechobee Crawl. Good blue flake on one side, a mixture of watermelon, green pumpkin on the other. But I will fish this thing 4/0 Gamakatsu extra wide gap hook, EWG hook, 1/4 ounce Woo tungsten sinker on the Texas rig. This bait, when they really are locked on beds, or they're about to get on beds, this is a big fish catcher. Now it's a big piece of plastic. It's bulky. I usually fish it on 15 to 17 pound line on a Texas rig. I've never really tried this on a Mojo rig. I fished it on a Texas rig and I fished it on a free rig some last year. And I've caught some decent ones on the free rig with it too. But when you want a good bed fishing bait, when you are you know, me, bed fishing, you're looking for that spot, that place in the bed where that fish don't want that bait to be. And this bait right here, it just gets bit. They don't like it. And they bite it very aggressively, more so than what I've seen them with the lizard. And with this 1/4 ounce tungsten, you can just put it in that bed and you just leave it there. Once you find that spot and you just hop it, move it, pluck your line, move it, and man, they can't stand it. They just do not like this thing in the bed. And when it's on with this bait, you can catch some really, really good fish with it. Strike King, Rage Monkey, Space Monkey, the Rage Tail series. So these two baits are two soft plastics I throw from the time the water temperature reaches about 52, 53 degrees all the way through the post spawn. And then I'll start going to some other stuff. But when I tell you that, you know, you can get a lot of bites still with the lizard on Texas rig or on the Mojo rig and on the good old slider head. It's black and blue on a slider head in the river. It's good stuff. And June bug and these other colors I showed you. They're just good baits. The monkey is a big fish catching bait, and it'll catch big females, and it'll catch them off of beds. And they just don't like the space monkey. So that's two baits, two pieces of plastic that I throw a lot in the early spring up until right past when the spawn's about to end. And I just wanted to share that with you guys. Don't sleep on the lizards. It's still a good bait, still a fish catcher. And the space monkey is another good choice when you're fishing around the spawn, right before the spawn, and right after. And a lot of guys fish this afterwards on the Carolina rig. I just, you know, I don't do the Carolina rig thing that much. I have other things I like to do. But another thing you can do with this monkey is put it on the rugby head, the jig heads with the movable hook, swing head. This thing, swimming it on the bottom, it's got some crazy action. These legs kicking, it's just, it's really good on the swinging jig head too. So, hope this helps catch a few more fish. Feel free to ask any questions, any comments. Thank you to all you have subscribed to the channel. Thanks for all the comments up to this point. I really appreciate it. And hopefully I'll get back on the water soon and start making some on the water stuff. I'm fishing some different tournaments, a different trail this year. I'm still gonna fish the ABA some, and I'll have some on the water video coming for you soon too as well. So thanks for all the questions, all the feedback. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys on the next video. Have a good one.